Hello everyone, welcome to my introduction and guide for beginners to MWO, Mechwarrior Online. The first mech, in my opinion, you should get, the best first mech you can get is the Archer. Now, I personally have the Archer T, and as you can see, it has missile heat generation quirk and IS medium laser cooldown quirk with center torso armor, left torso armor, right torso armor, armor quirks, really strong armor quirks, right? But this is a hero mech, so you have to actually pay money to buy MCs in order to purchase this mech, right? But this mech, which is the Archer 2R, is very similar, almost exactly the same as the Tempest, the Archer Tempest. This is called the Tempest, right? The Archer 2R has better missile cooldown, better missile velocity, and slightly less heat generation, but you know, compared to the rest, it seems, you know, no big deal, right? No laser quirks, but really just 5% medium laser cooldown, not a big deal. So you can buy this as a beginning player without actually spending money and get this mech. And why the Archer? Well, first of all, the Archer is a 70-ton mech, right? Let's take a look at the mech stats, right? This is the mech that I have, right? Or this is the Archer, the pre-built Archer, right? It's got 2 LR20s, but you can see, right away, it has a lot of armor. A lot of armor. In fact, this mech, this heavy mech, has more armor than a lot of assault mechs, or the lightest assault mechs anyways. Let me show you something. So let's go to select mechs. I'm going to select my mech, go to loadout, and you can see, right, with quirks, the thing is I have a bunch of skills in survivability, which increases the amount of armor, right? I have these armor hardening nodes, increases the amount of armor I can have. So with those, I have 127 points of armor in the center torso, 86 in the side torsos. Now compare this to my awesome, right? This is a 80-ton assault mech. This mech has 77 side torso, 113 center torso armor. It's got even less armor than the 70-ton Archer. And I do have a lot of survival quirks on this one also. All the armor quirks. So you have a heavy mech that has the armor of an assault mech, and not the worst of the assault mechs, probably equivalent armor to like a 90-ton assault mech, right? Because I think if you look at it, let's look at the say this is a 100-tonner, right? This is the Kodiak 3. Look at this, 124 armor, center torso armor, 84 center torso armor. That's a 100-tonner. And compared to the 127 and 86 armor, this mech is more armor than the Kodiak. So first of all, survivability. This mech can survive all kinds of damage. You can throw damage all day on this mech and it won't die. So let's look at the its profile, right? Now, a lot of people complain about the rabbit ears and all that, but as a beginner, the people you face is probably not likely to be able to take advantage of your rabbit ears. Now, sure, it's not the greatest mech in terms of placement and everything, but you can see the weapons are fairly high mounted. The missiles are mounted in the shoulder above the cockpit. So this is a pretty good mech in terms of weapon positions, in my opinion, hard point positioning, in my opinion. Now, why the Archer? Besides the fact that it's super tanky right now, right? In fact, I was planning to make this video before last patch, which was September 18th or something like that, right? Last patch, the Archer received a huge buff and had gotten all these armor quirks, right? Had gotten all these armor quirks and became super tanky. But even before that, I was planning to make a video for the beginner about buying the Archer as your first mech and playing with it as your first mech. And the reason is because it's an LRM boat, and it's an inner spear LRM boat. Now, why LRM boat? First of all, LRM boats are very easy to position. Like when you're first starting to play the game, you really don't know how to control your mech, and you can't really expect people to learn to play, to be able to position themselves and point at stuff, point at their weapons effectively, and use their weapons effectively right at the get-go. Rather, it's important for people to learn how to position, and the Archer, being an LRM mech, is very forgiving. All LRM mechs basically are very forgiving in terms of positioning, in that you always just position yourself behind everybody else. Just let your allies surround you. Just position yourself somewhere in the middle of your allies. Don't be in front of them, because you don't need to be in front of them, because they're going to target, and you're just going to target the same target they're targeting and use indirect fire and launch your missiles at any target that you can get a lock onto. And you don't need to actually see your enemy, as long as your ally has them targeted and locked. So the LRM bolt is very, very forgiving. So that's one reason. Now, the second reason, now as for why Inner Spear rather than Clan, well, because Inner Spear missiles are much better than Clan LRMs. Inner Spear LRMs. No, I won't say missile. Inner Spear LRMs are superior to Clan LRMs. Now, on paper, Clan LRMs are better than Inner Spear LRMs, especially in the board game, right? The pencil and paper board game, it's just, there's no comparison. Just Inner Spear LRMs just trash compared to Clan LRMs. Now, in the game itself, the LRMs have been rebalanced this way and that way, and so even on paper, the Clan LRMs aren't quite as good as compared to Inner Spear LRM as they are in the pencil and paper game, right? Now, what's more is Clan LRMs and Inner Spear LRMs act differently. The way that Clan LRMs fire is in a stream. So they fire one at a time, with a very, very brief stop, right? They just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They fire like bullets very quickly, whereas Inner Spear LRMs fire in a cluster. So once they fire, let's say I have an LRM 15 on an Inner Spear mech. if I fire, it fires all 15 missiles at the same time, and it hits the target. All 15 missiles should hit the target at approximately the same time. With the clan, it's one at a time. And so let's say it takes 5 seconds for my missile to hit the target for my LRMs. For the clan LRMs, it's between 5 seconds and maybe 7 seconds. So it's an extra second or two longer for all your missiles to hit, and they hit one at a time. And that is a very, very significant disadvantage for the clan LRM. Now the clan LRMs are lighter, they take up less space, but because of this, they are inferior to the Inner Sphere LRM. I'd rather pay the extra weight and extra space to have the Inner Sphere LRM as compared to the clan LRM, because by giving them that extra 1 or 2 seconds, you're allowing them to run away and hide behind some kind of obstacle, and thereby negating much of your damage. That's one thing. Number two, if they have anti-missiles, AMS, right? If they have anti-missiles, a lot of your missiles will be negated as clan, if you're firing clan LRMs at them, because it takes a certain amount of time, right? A AMS can only destroy so many missiles at a specific amount of time. So let's say it can destroy 5 missiles in 1 second. I'm just saying, I have no idea how many they can destroy. Well, let's say they can destroy 5. So I launch a cluster of 15 LRMs at them. Well, 5 of my 15 LRMs get destroyed, and then 10 hit, right? That's for the Inner Sphere, because they all hit in the cluster. Well, for clans, that's not true, because you're firing in a stream. So that means you're giving their AMS more time to shoot down your missiles. So maybe they shoot down 10 of your missiles instead of 5. So now only 5 of your missiles can hit. That is if they don't get behind the obstacle, some kind of obstacle to block the damage. So without a doubt, Inner Sphere LRMs are superior. And LRM boats being so easy to use, they are, in my opinion, the best weapon to learn the game with. So therefore, the Archer T becomes probably, in my opinion, the best mech to use to learn Mechwarrior Online with as a beginner. Now, I loaded out my mech with medium lasers. Now, since the patch, I am now able to load them with ER medium lasers. ER medium lasers cost the same tonnage and slots, but they have a longer range and they produce more heat, and that is why I don't use them, because, well, the longer range is an advantage, but the extra heat is why I don't use them, because with the regular medium laser, you only produce 3.4 heat in order to produce 5 damage. For the ER medium lasers, you produce 4.5 heat for every 5 points of damage. So that's like an extra point of heat, right? That's basically extra 1.1 heat, and I just don't see the need for it. So the effective range of the medium laser is about 270, right? Optimal range right here, it says 270 is the optimal range, and for the ER medium laser it's 360. So yes, you're going to get some range, and that's going to give you some advantage, but your LRM's minimum range is like 180, I believe. It's 180. So anything over 190 or 200, I'm just going to fire LRMs at them, because LRMs produce very little heat for the amount of damage they do. Like, this produces 5 heat, like with the heat quirk, this produces 4.5 heat for 15 points of damage. So why would I go with the lasers, right? Unless I run out of ammo. I'm not going to go with the lasers. I'm going to go with the LRMs. So that's why I go with the medium lasers, because they're effective 270 range, and anything beyond that, I'm just going to use LRMs. I'm not going to use medium lasers. And then also, I also have a tag, which is it allows you to laser tag a opponent, making it easier to target. Your locks are faster, your locks are better, your missiles are more accurate, and it counters ECM. Like a lot of times they have ECM and you can't even get a lock on them, but if you have tag and you tag them, you can get a lock on them. Now with tag, you have to be actually facing them. You have to actually be in line of sight of them, so there is some risk. So you're going to be face tanking them, or maybe even their allies. But the good thing is you have the armor of an assault mech, so therefore you're not afraid of anybody really. Like an assault mech comes at you, no big deal. Sure, maybe they'll outdamage you, you know, but you just back off, shoot medium lasers at them, and eventually they'll fall back, or if they don't, they're gonna get destroyed by your allies. And then if they back off, you know, just launch LRMs at them until they die, right? And then I also have the Guardian ECM. This is unique to the Tempest, so you can't get a Guardian ECM on the regular 2R. The regular 2R does have AMS though, and it does have better quirks. So so this does give you an advantage if you do pay to buy the Archer Tempest. Then you will have a slight advantage in terms of the ECM, but it's actually not a huge deal, because a lot of times you're going to be behind, you know, obstacles, behind mountains, behind walls, behind your ally mechs, and you won't even be, you know, in front of them, and you'll be fine. You do fine in terms of damage with your LRMs. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5 tons of ammo, which is pretty decent. It's enough. You can get more. How you can do that is by instead of using a standard engine, you might go for either an XL, which I don't recommend because XL engines make you much more vulnerable. You lose a side torso and your mech is gone. So light engine, however, only take up 2 slots in your side torso. So even if you do lose a side torso, you will survive with the light engine. So the best build would be to put a light engine on there, but I'm just too cheap to buy one. And this is the exact build I had since before the patch. I haven't changed it, and it still works. It worked back before the patch, and it's even working even better now that the patch, you know, buffed the Archer. Now, without much further ado, I think we're gonna let's go look at the skills. Now, as a beginner playing with LRMs, I suggest that you get pretty much everything you can on sensors, right? I mean, I forego advanced zoom and all that. You don't need advanced zoom. You just need a lock. And target information is nice. Seismic, it would be nice, but I forewent all that because I wanted survivability and I wanted mobility. Now, after you've gotten at the minimum, in my opinion, at the minimum, you've gotten like 15 points in sensors. Well, let's not go that far. Let's go with just the basic 9 points so that you can get your 60% radar deprivation. You go down this route and you can get radar deprivation for about 9 points. So you get that, you get that, and you get that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 points is all it takes to get radar deprivation. After you get that, I would recommend that you get mobility. You're already very survivable, very tanky. So your next thing is mobility, because like all new players with that's piloting mechs, you may find that mechs are very unresponsive. They don't turn when you want them to turn. They don't they don't move when you want them to move. So this will improve the responsiveness of your mech and make it much more easier for you to target enemies, to run away from enemies, or to hunt them down. To me, this is crucial. Mobility is just crucial. It's arguably even more important than radar deprivation, but I'm not sure which is more important. I probably just go, because all it takes is 9 points to get 60% radar deprivation. I probably go this route first, and then after you've gotten some mobility, enough to feel that you're not completely terrible, you don't feel like, oh, you can't turn, you have trouble getting lock-ons. You should be putting points here. You should be putting points here so that you can get lock-ons more quickly. You can get lock-ons that doesn't decay that quickly, so that you can shoot at them even though you've lost your line of sight. Although if they have a lot of radar deprivation, that might not work as well. But still, it's you should be putting a lot of points into sensors. And then finally, you will probably want to put points into survival. Put as much as you can into armor hardening. I had put AMS at some point in Tempest, but I find that it takes up too much room. So I'd rather have a ton more ammo than putting an AMS. So and then here I put in cool run. I wanted to reduce the amount of heat this mech produces. So that's why I went with that. But you could ignore that if you want and just go with more armor. It doesn't really matter at this point. I think you should be a little bit overpowered anyways. After you basically max out your sensors and got a lot of mobility, you should be a little bit overpowered relative to mechs your size, 70-ton mechs. So without much further ado, let's go to the battlefield. Now I've set up my weapons groups as 1 for lasers, 2 for LRMs, and 3 for the tag. And you might want to switch it up differently. I almost never, or it's generally best if you shoot all your lasers at once at the same target rather than shooting them piecemeal. It doesn't matter what I pick. Now none of these are really. Oh, Caustic Valley is really good for LRMs. Well, HPG is okay, not so good, but there we have it. It's HPG and Skirmish, and let's see how this plays out. Now, when you start, you're not gonna have the skills, so you may find that you get hit a bit more, you get locked on a bit more and target a bit more than I am. But after you've gotten your skill points and put them in the sensors, and especially if you decide to get the Tempest and have ECM, it's just it's going to be really hard for them to target you. They're going to have to use direct fire weapons. They're probably not going to be able to use LRMs on you. If they do, that means you're a bit too close to them. And being a bit too close to them is okay if your team is winning. If your team is not doing too well, maybe you don't want to be there. So you want to learn to position yourself in a safe way, and I will try to do this, but
my blood pressure's going up.
Uh-oh. Better kill some stuff to make it go down.
Yeah, I agree.
Darshan, man, you're at 936 ping.
He needs to be on his server, not America, if it's that high.
He needs to go kick his ISP's butt. Okay. You know what the guy said.
That's a little better.
Ooh, that's a lot of heat.
So I'm just gonna play, because...
Wow, that's a lot of heat. Okay.
Because I don't know how to turn off audio.
I'm not a clan guy, so... Inner Sphere does have some advantages.
to. I'll take it.
Excellent work, guy. One more. Is he down below, or?
I saw nothing down there when I went
Oh,
down
he's
there.
disconnected. He probably ran off and hid.
Is that an AFK? Might be an AFK.
No, shoot him in the head.
Farm him. Oh, man. I had to farm him for damage. Shoot the arms off.
Yeah,
shoot the leg
because he
off.
won't do that. He never does.
Oh, well. That was fun.
So, we did 839 damage, got 6 killing blows, 3 assists, 3 solo kills, 5 kills most damage dealt, and we got 300,000 sequels. Mostly 75,000 because of the Hero Mech C-Bill bonus. Not bad, not bad. This is reasonable. 839 is reasonable, and I still have missiles. Now, if the game had dragged on longer and it wasn't so one-sided, and I would probably have done similar damage because I would have used more of my missiles. I would have sat back more, and oh, I didn't check to see what everybody else's damage is. I might be top damage. I forgot to check. But anyways, as you can see, LRM boats with medium lasers on a heavy mech with assault mech armor is just ridiculous. Especially LRM boats with Artemis. Now, why Artemis? Artemis takes up an extra slot, and they just, I think they even weigh more, and they certainly cost more. Now, why Artemis? Well, because from what I can see, Artemis seems to hit better. Their missile arcs are better. They are better able to arc over and avoid obstacles. Sometimes they arc sideways. I feel like I can't tell you with certainty that LRMs with Artemis will arc better and and avoid obstacles better. But from what I can see, it seems that way, because that's how I feel. Because you can't put regular LRMs with Artemis. You either have Artemis or you have regular LRMs. So, because you just change it here, you don't put an LRM plus Artemis here and then put an LRM here. No, you change it here and everything is LRM, either Artemis or no Artemis. So but I find that LRMs with Artemis are much more effective. So even though these are LRM 15s, they're probably better, more effective than LRM 20s. So you can see how good this build is. Now the Baradu has a better build with the light engine, which I'm too cheap to buy. I don't want to buy it. This is plenty strong a mech as it is, so I don't see a point of buying light engine on here to put more heat sinks and make this more effective. It's you can do that. I mean, there's no there's no minuses to it, really, no negatives to it. So you might as well do it if you have the money. But if you don't have the money, you're cheap like me, or you're poor beginner, can't afford the C builds, this is fine. This is already plenty expensive with the Artemis LRMs and the standard engine and all that. That's plenty. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this and you got something from this. So I'm gonna put an end to this, and the next one, I hope at some point I'm gonna be able to do my my next one, which will be on my EBJ Prime. I have two EBJs. They're the same build, and this would also not be a bad beginner build, but just it's, in my opinion, when you're a medium range skirmisher, it's harder to play than a long range LRM boat. I mean, you have the option to run in and kill people like I do, like I did just now, because you have crap tons of armor, so you don't care if people shoot at you. you just go after the kills, right? So anyways, I'm gonna call this an end. If you like this video, please like this this video, or subscribe. Thank you for watching. See you next time.